Yo, what is up everyone? Welcome back to some more Williams Road to Glory, and today we are here for the US Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. As you can tell in the background, the best fans, of course the birds outside, have joined for some more action, and hopefully you guys are excited as well. But this weekend, as you can see in the background, we've got no rain expected. Also, in terms of upgrades, no big changes planned, and we do have two ultimate upgrades on the way. Hopefully we'll get them both on the car, but these will be my final two upgrades of the entire season. Now, the reason for that is because there is a regulation change planned for next season, and with that in mind, what I want to do, I want to save up some points and protect some upgrades. Even though this is the final season, a lot of you guys in the comments want me to do a Season 4 preview episode to see what would have happened, so I'm essentially going to treat it as such. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense, and we'll see what happens, you know, going to Season 4. But this is round 13 out of 16, so we're getting towards crunch time now, and you know, the championship fight is alive and well. You have to say it's almost a 4-car fight between myself, Valtteri Bottas, who's P2, Pierre Gasly and Lewis Hamilton. Both of those guys, especially Pierre Gasly, getting themselves back in the hunt. Now, in terms of qualifying, as you saw there, I made a bit of a mistake, and the first lap pretty much got put in the bin. It wasn't ideal, and the pressure was on for the final qualifying lap because, you know, I didn't want to use another fresh set of softs, so I actually pretty much abandoned the previous run. I went back to the pits quite slowly, and I just used the same tyres again. I had about 2% tyre wear on all of them, so yeah, this time we're going full send, and this time we don't make the same mistake as the last lap. And to be fair, the pace is actually not too bad. All we've got to do is make sure we do a pretty standard lap time, a pretty safe lap, and that should do the trick. And so far, it's been a pretty decent one, to be fair. The car feels good, I've got good confidence in the balance, and the car itself working pretty well. I've had some issues with tyres overheating, especially on the rears around here towards the end of the lap. The car struggles a little bit, but in general, things are looking good, and all we've got to do now is try and get out of the bottom 5. So we're currently P20, as we tackle the back straight now into the slow section here, the Mickey Mouse section really, and the mechanical grip is what you need. Currently 6.5 tenths up on Lance Stroll, who's in P16 in the Aston Martin, as we now go into the double left-handers. And up until this point, the lap was going well, but then through the next right-hander, I just lose the back end a little bit, and I pick up a cut. So unfortunately, that's it. It's going to be game over for us in qualifying. And the reason I cut is because actually the back end was starting to come around a little bit. I was getting some oversteer, and obviously I caught it afterwards, but I could feel that I had a lot more turning than I expected, and it was the back end starting to come around because the rears were starting to overheat essentially, and I threw away the lap. So unfortunately, it's game over for us. We were 6 tenths up in the middle sector on Stroll, who finished P16, and I probably would have found a bit more time, so I'd like to think we could have probably finished around P11, but unfortunately it's going to be P20 for us and last place, which is a bombshell and a massive moment in the title fight. So Bottas, Gasly and Hamilton are going to be loving it, so we've got it all to do, and we need a massive comeback drive in the race.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin, in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself 14 miles southeast of the city centre and home to the US Grand Prix since 2012. The latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of the wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles an hour, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into turn 1 and the very long back straight into turn 12. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk about Martinez. No grid penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance and a very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Pierre Gasly lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Sainz, Charles Leclerc and Norris, Ricciardo, Ocon, Kvyat and Alexander Albon. They've taken a grid penalty. Perez, Bottas, Nick de Vries and Magnussen, Verstappen, Stroll, Nobuharu Matsushita and Roman Grosjean, Giovinazzi and Martinez. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Well, this race should be fun. So we're starting from P20. Last place, we done it last year. We managed to secure a pretty strong result. I'm hoping to do it without the help of a safety car. I feel like I want to get a result on merit like the last race. So yeah, we're going to start P20. We're going to start on the mediums and we're going to switch to the soft tyre. Now the game won't allow me to one stop, but that is what we're going to go for. The one stop around here, the reverse. One stop, medium to soft is definitely the way to go around here if you can afford that. And yeah, in terms of the forecast, no rain expected. Fuel-wise, carrying one extra lap, so just enough in case we need to use some rich. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So let's get into the action and let's see what happens in COTA. Okay, here we go. We're going to see if we can get a good start on the mediums, which we probably won't. Lights out, and away we go. As expected, struggling to get any kind of traction. We're going to go to the outside though, into turn one, because we'll find a bit of space here. Look at this, making quite a few moves, and we're up to P15. We've got Bottas here in P14, so just like the last race, Bottas is quite a way down on where he'd usually start as we get past Magnussen there, just using the fact he was a little bit, let's say, off the pace through the S's to make a move. So opportunistic, and we're already P14, so good start from us. And you know, I'll always say if you can go around the outside of turn one, that's my top tip of the day. Always go to the outside, this corner as well, around the outside of the hairpin. If you can do it, go for it. But let's see what Bottas does. So similar to Japan, we're going to be following him this race. Will he have more pace than Japan? Probably. And I'm expecting him to make a few more moves compared to the last race. But having said that, I fancy myself to make a couple of moves as well. I feel like we could have the pace and the car for it. And these tyres in about 5 or 6 laps time should be the way to go. So if we can just weather the storm in this first part of the race until DRS gets enabled, we should be okay. So let's see how this goes as lap one draws to a close. I can see out front we've got a Red Bull in the lead, so it's not Hamilton again. So Lewis dropping the ball a little bit for Mercedes for the second race in succession when I'm not fighting for the win. And it's Gasly leading, so if Gasly wins this race, he could definitely get himself back in the title hunt. So let's see what happens. But anyway, I'm going to now crack on and see if we can stay within a second for the next lap. DRS enabled, and we've managed to stay with Bottas. Track limits is going to be another crucial talking point this race. You know, running strict corner cutting limits, we're going to have some work to keep the car, you know, within those limits and not pick up a penalty in this race. So we'll try and do our best there. But for now, let's try and get back to Bottas, who just pulled away a little bit there. I want to try and be within a second for the DRS detection zone, because if we drop out of DRS, it could be a few laps until we get back in. So I want to try and keep that gap close. And there we go, that should do the trick. Oh my god. Oh boy, that was close. I've dropped out of DRS range because of that. Tyre temps are still somewhat okay, but that was very, very scary. I don't even know how I saved that. I thought I was gone, to be honest. Personal best, good recovery, back within DRS of Bottas. Meanwhile, we've got Verstappen now behind in the Ferrari for company. But we're pretty much stuck in a DRS train right now. The AlphaTauri is a bit too fast on the straight, so it's holding up Albon, De Vries and Bottas right now at this stage of the race. Oh, green flag, which means someone ahead is slowing down. Or could be behind, but I think it's ahead because we're quite far back. Let's see who it is. Oh no, I think it's George. Yeah, it's George. That's unfortunate.
Some information on Albon. They seem to have an issue.
Okay, safety car deployed. Albon has car issues. Will the AI pit under safety car? That's the question. That's a very interesting time safety car, that. I'm not sure what to expect. Let's see what the AI do. Just having a quick look at the minimap. Hamilton and Gasly out front have a massive lead. They're at the final corner by themselves right now. Will they take an early stop? I think they are. I think they're both pitting right now. Let's see who else pits, but it looks like those who are on a 2-stop are going to pit. So we might be at a disadvantage in terms of restart. I think we're going to be off pace. The good news is we've got a free pit box because George is now out of the race, so we can pit whenever we feel like. But let's see then where we are in terms of net position here.
A new strategy is available on the MFD. Copy.
There's Gasly. He was net race leader, and we're going to be just behind him. Ahead of Stroll, though, and ahead of Hamilton. So I'm not quite sure where we are in the pecking order. All I know is, in theory, everyone that's pitted right now was meant to be 2-stopping. So on paper, we should all have 1 stop left right now. So I am actually net ahead of Hamilton. And obviously Gasly is the net race leader, and we will have 1 stop left. So really, we can now fight for this win, or maybe even a podium. It just depends on whether we can keep the pace with these tyres on the restart. But once we get to the softs, we should be okay. Okay, time to get ready for the safety car restart. I've managed to do a bit of fuel burning, so we've got the fuel down to 0.4. That will probably save up a little bit before we get underway. Tyre temp looking a little bit on the low side. I'm going to see if I can get a bit of temps in before we get back on the way. It's going to be difficult though, as I don't really have full car control right now, but trying to work the tyres a little bit here under Delta, which isn't ideal. And it's going to be Kvyat who leads us away. So we've got some tyre temps now. Let's see how this restart goes. We're going to need Stroll to be a bit of a rear gunner because Hamilton's going to be super fast on those soft tyres. So here we go then. Back on the way for the restart. Nice clean exit out the final corner. And that should do the trick. So now we've got to try and keep pace with these front 3. I think Gasly obviously will be super fast, but he won't be fully released until obviously Kvyat and De Vries are overtaken. We'll have pit, so I think Gasly might be locked in here. So let's try and stick with as best as we can. I think Gasly's going to go for the move on De Vries here. Let's see what happens. I'm just going to take a back seat and watch it all unfold. You can see the difference in grip as Gasly completely nails De Vries on traction. Stroll still keeping Hamilton at bay though, which is good news for us. So yeah, this is looking good for Gasly right now this race. I've got to say, he's definitely in the driver's seat. I'm going to see if I can get past De Vries here, and we'll see if actually Nick or Kvyat in the lead pit this lap. Will they pit? Yes, Kvyat pits, and De Vries stays out. Fair enough. I think we can get De Vries here. He locks up. That's going to invite some pressure. His ERS light's flashing there. Let's go for the move. Stroll stays out, which is crucial. Up the inside, De Vries into the first corner. We bang tyres. Luckily no wing damage, and we're through. And we're now P2. Right, let's try and push a little bit as Hamilton's just passed Stroll, so that was good timing on the overtake to keep Lewis behind for as long as possible. Okay, so we're going to get some reference times here. Gasly 1:30.0. We'll do a 31.5. That is a personal best from me, but 1.5 seconds off Pierre's pace. Hamilton though still not able to get past De Vries, which is great news for us, I'll say that. On cue, he passes him into turn 1. Oh, Lewis having a bit of a look up the inside there. Just forced me to hesitate, and I had to just correct my steering wheel slightly. But this isn't going to take long. Lewis actually up the inside right now. Looks like he's running full power. I'm going to try and hang it around the outside here. We'll get a pretty decent exit, but I think Lewis will have the DRS now, so there's no point in me really even fighting this. I'll try and stay in his DRS, but I'm not super confident. We need to try and get this stint out to at least lap 16, ideally lap 17 or 18, so we'll see how the tyres go. I've had a few moments, a few lockups. Obviously that big slide in the opening laps didn't help my tyre wear at all, so hopefully the safety car would have helped in terms of rebalancing that, but we need to make sure these tyres last for the 1 stop. Oh my god, not again. Jesus. I can't quite, it's easy flat, but I can't actually do it flat because it's causing oversteer, so I'm going to have to take a bit of a confidence lift, I think. Pace is still pretty good. I'm trying to stick with Lewis, of course, because once we pit, we're going to be battling him, so another personal best from me. We're actually pulling away from the cars behind a little bit, so this is at best, you know, or should I say at worst, solidifying a podium finish this race, which is great. So I'll happily take this, considering Bottas is nowhere to be seen right now. This is a great result, but we'll see how the race pans out. Still a long way to go. So we've only just ticked over half race distance. Gasly and Hamilton pit. We're going to pit end of lap 16 for our soft tyres. Well, to be fair, They've, oh, actually, yeah, they've both gone for mediums. Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. In that case, we'll go for lap 18. I thought they would have gone for soft tyres, so obviously not early enough yet. So we'll go to lap 18. I'll see my tyre wear in a minute on the back straight. But we'll then go for a set of softs and see if we can fight back on those soft tyres and maybe even get a bit more than just P3. There's the tyre wear I was talking about. Pretty low. We've done a good job of managing it. So yeah, definitely lap 18 for us. That's going to be the one. Mistake. Damn it. Just pushed it a bit too much there. Okay, here we go. We're going to box this lap. It's been a pretty solid first stint. A couple of moments here and there. Still no warning for track limits. Hopefully I'll keep it that way. Into the pit lane we go. Nice and easy. Let's not overcommit too much. Right. Lovely stuff. Got just about enough fuel to push now on this final stint. Now let's see if the mechanics can deliver a good stop when needed the most. Hopefully they do. And soft tyres are going to go on. Fresh soft tyres as well, which is going to make a big difference. There we go. Kvyat in as well. We're not going to get held by him. Now the question is, how many seconds behind Hamilton are we going to beat? Here comes Bottas on fresh mediums. He's on our fastest lap, but he's going to be just behind us. So Bottas has recovered well in the championship fight, but P4 is going to be his maximum here today. We are 8.5 seconds behind Lewis with just under 10 laps left, so we're going to have to catch him at a second a lap minimum to have a chance to get past. So let's push and let's see what happens. Pretty solid lap so far. Really enjoying these tyres, but Hamilton is pushing though. I've noticed I'm not gaining as much as I would like. So Lewis is going for it, but we set a 28.5, which is a pretty insane lap time. We're catching Gasly though together. Let's see how this progresses. Push it a bit too much. Rear tyres are fried. Got to be careful, otherwise the back end will want to come around. But this is going to limit my progress quite badly actually. It's almost like these cars are too fast for these tyres, which is a bit of a shame. The gap isn't really coming down that much. Hopefully Lewis has a bit of a poor lap or something. I'm not really catching enough. The pace isn't that bad, but I'm just not really making any progress, to be honest. I don't think we're going to finish any higher than P3 today. We've cleared Bottas, which is good, but I can't see us getting any more than this, unfortunately. The top twos have a bit too much pace for me. Uh-oh. That was risky, that was. That could have been a big, big disaster. I'm going to think rein it in. I'm trying to push too much, and it isn't really working, so I'm just going to chill out, I think, and accept P3 for this race. Well, here we go then, making our way through the final few corners. We lose the back end one more time there as I try to do it with the ERS on. Gasly's going to win. Very interesting. Second race win in succession for him. Hamilton P2 as the dogs bark way outside. And we're going to come home for P3 and some decent damage limitation.
So another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Well, there we go then for the race results here at the Circuit of the Americas. Pierre Gasly picks up the W, Lewis Hamilton P2, and we finish in third place with a fastest lap. So we only lose 2 points to Hamilton in the championship. Bottas P4 ahead of Sainz, Leclerc, De Vries, Verstappen, Albon and Ricciardo. Missing out on the top 10 on the points we have Ocon, Kvyat, Perez, Norris. It's Norris, sorry, my bad. Stroll, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Matsushita, Magnussen, and unfortunately George Russell, who of course retired from the race. And that is pretty much going to be the nail in the coffin for the Constructors' Championship. You know, that retirement is not what we needed. And yeah, we're 22 points clear at top of the Drivers' Championship. We're pulling away slightly. I think there's 3 more races to go: Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. Hamilton and Gasly are back in the mix, and they both have a chance. So it's a 4-way fight heading into the final 2 races. In the Constructors' Championship, I think it's going to be game over. The gap is now 92 points, and unfortunately, our target of winning Constructors this year is failed, which is a real shame. So yeah, it is what it is. Either way, that's going to be it from me here today, guys, for this episode. We're not going to do any upgrades because I believe there's a regulation change on the horizon, and with that in mind, I know you guys wanted to see a video where I do the first episode of the next season to see what everything would have been, with all the upgrades during the off season and everything. So I'm going to pretty much just try and save up R&D points and see what would have happened in season 4. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, leave a like. Let's try and smash over 1,000 likes. Subscribe for more daily F1 content on my channel, guys. It really helps me out. And F1 2021 is less than a month away, so do be subscribed for when I drop the new content fresh off the bat. So yeah, do get involved. As always, big shout out to the channel members for supporting the content as always. And finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you have missed them. But that is it from me here today, and I'll see you guys next time.